Hello and welcome to Torsby, the home of Rally Sweden, and after weeks of lockdown today, playing host to a welcome and long overdue return to rally in action. We're delighted to say we've got some lively competition for you in the shape of the Torsby Lockdown Sprint. A shootout featuring half a dozen of Sweden's finest. They're going to tackle a 2.5 kilometre sprint stage around Torsby, a familiar feature for the WRC event held here. It was only back in February where the world's best rally drivers drove over the same piece of road. Ogier, Lappi, Rovanperä, Suninen and Tanak, to name a few. It's a straightforward knockout format, starting with a qualifying round, where the 6 crews will be whittled down to 4, who will then go through to the semi-finals. The winners will then meet in the final with a shootout to decide the 3rd and 4th places. So here's how they line up. WRC 2 and 3 driver Oliver Solberg with Mum Pernilla in the co-driver's seat. Pontus Tideman, the 2-time WRC 2 champion, is with us. Also, Emil Bergqvist, the 2018 Junior WRC champion. His teammate for the day, no other than Mattias Ekstrom, the 2-time DTM champion and 1-time World Rallycross champion. Then we have PG Anderson, who was a Junior WRC champion in 2004 and 2007. And rounding out our driver lineup is Johan Ersson Brute in her Mitsubishi Mirage, so a talented lineup to say the least. Okay, let's hear from some of our runners and riders.
Yeah, it's been a long time behind the wheel in the rally car. It was Mexico, so I've been really waiting and looking forward to this day. So try to have quite fun and go out and try to push a bit.
But it's a very big difference between Mexico and this short rally stage here in Torsby.
Yeah, it's quite big different, I would say. So we will do recce now soon and see how the stage look. But yeah, it's quite big different. But anyway, I think this will be a good day.
Yeah, it's finally nice to be back, and it's hard competition. It's the World Championship drivers, so for sure it's going to be tough.
But it's only 2.5 kilometers and a small amount of people here. But can you get the feeling of a real competition?
Yes, for sure. It's always competition. All competition is fantastic, and even if it's a short stage, it's still a stage, and I think it's going to be flat out.
You have driven this stage before or not?
Yeah, I did it in Rally Sweden, but it was a very different surface then.
Yeah, for sure it's going to be a good pleasure and a hard competition in between these few drivers that are here, but the organizers have done well to find probably most of the best drivers in Sweden.
Yeah, it's only 6 drivers, but the competition is really high.
Yeah, 6 is enough. Everyone is aiming for the first place, so it's 5 too many.
First up was qualifying, where the drivers got to have 2 passes over the stage. Here we're on board with PG Anderson, the 2-time Junior WRC champion, in a Ford Fiesta for this event this weekend. But things didn't quite go to plan for the Swedish driver.
It was a short race and it ended up quite unsurprised in the dirty track on the hillside where it was 2 deep ruts and I didn't see it on the top, and I just flicked the car in and it went up on 2 wheels and there was no space to try to turn it back, so it ended up upside down and on the arm core.
You didn't recognize it before? You were surprised when you came around the left-hander?
Yeah, for sure you know that it's digging up, but it was a surprise that it was such deep ruts. Or I think the problem was also there was quite big bad rocks in the ground under the sand, which was causing a problem.
So it was a short day for PG Anderson, as he said. A real knockout blow in every sense. As you can see, Oliver Solberg was quickest, followed by Emil Bergqvist and then Pontus Tideman. There's going to be a quarter-final 1 shootout between Ekstrom and Brudi in her Mitsubishi to see who joins Oliver Solberg in the 2nd semi-final. So here we go. The shootout to get into that semi-final alongside Oliver Solberg. It's Ekstrom in his Skoda Fariad, followed by Brudi in the Mitsubishi R5. The Skoda Fabia probably a little bit more developed in every sense of the way than the Mitsubishi, but here we are on board and we have our first look at the stage. Raining quite a lot. Obviously the road getting a bit rutted up. As we've already seen from PG Anderson, the ruts are starting to form even just after the qualifying run. You can see the cleaner line. Wipers on full blast. And here we go. This is the famous stage, as we've mentioned already, that we use during Rally Sweden. Quite a lot of dirt in there. Ekstrom pushing as hard as he can. The stage time's not going to be massively long, so you can't afford to make a mistake. Any mistake will cost and probably drop you down. Ekstrom hasn't been around the World Rally Championship for quite a few years, being busy with his German touring car racing and the DTM. Done a bit of everything, to be totally honest with you. A bit of NASCAR, touring car racing, rallying. But here comes Ekstrom, and now we're heading into the arena. There'll be a big jump coming up over the jump and then into the corner where PG Anderson had his moment, so just watch the ruts. Everyone just being a little bit more careful. Coming out of the arena via another jump and then down to a tightening open right-hander though. This has caught people out in the past. There's a big ditch on the inside that catches people out. Now it's really flat out from here down to the finish. The Skoda driver absolutely flying as hard as he can and pushing as much as he can. Over the crest. Normally when we're here, it's a full whiteout. Actually getting a bit of a look, even though it's raining. We have Summer Rally. Latvila's corner from a few years ago. Fabio and Dolphy's corner from this year on the Rally Sweden. And through the flying finish, we have gone. And Mattias Ekstrom has cleared the stage. The benchmark is set. 1:44.1 was his time. And here we are on board with the Mitsubishi. Jona coming through the gears. Slightly smaller car, but still an R5. It's a car that you don't see very much, mainly in regional championships. Up the gears, raining still. Only done one World Rally in a career, so limited experience. Car sliding around an awful lot in the rear end there. Powering up the gears. Just seems to be struggling a little bit with traction out of some of the corners. It's as if it was only stuck in rear-wheel drive. Big slide there, lots of oversteer. Kind of telling me that maybe not everything is okay with the Mitsubishi Mirage. Here she comes into sight, co-driver Julia alongside her. Into the arena. Up and over the jump. Remember, a 1:44.1 was the time by Ekstrom in the Skoda Fabia. We're still quite a bit away from the end of the stage, and the time, she's not going to make this at all. Ekstrom, obviously, Mr. Motorsport in some ways. He's driven virtually everything there is around to drive. A little bit of a dig in on the inside there as well. And yeah, it just does look to me like that car's only got rear-wheel drive. Lots of fishtailing from the rear end. The time has gone. She will not be making it through. Ekstrom's time's up there, 44.1. We're already into the 2 minutes now. Long way to go down this straight. Heavy on the brakes, down the gears to the final right-hander. Then through the archway. Plus 26.7. I got a feeling there's a story to tell. So there's a confirmation. Ekstrom beating convincingly over Brody.
Congratulations to the win in the quarterfinal, and you are quicker and quicker for everyone.
Yeah, I mean, I can also learn a bit from Emil. He's really fast and does a really good job. Also, Pontus was quick all the time, so I have some good data to compare to. And like I said, I've never driven in so special gravel conditions. I mean, I'm not used to the ruts, and that's a really great experience for me. But again, I try to go a bit faster again and see if it will work out.
But in the semifinals, you have to find something like a second. It's tough.
it's just to keep the right foot down. I've seen now there is one section inside there which is pretty fast, and that's where you just have to stay flat out and not lift or be so careful. So I know the areas where I have to gain, and actually my first run I did in the practice is still my best run, and that's because the road was the smoothest. But I haven't learned to read the road yet, but I will hopefully make it better now.
So there we have it. Mattias Ekström now joining Oliver Solberg in the semi-final 2. But first up in semi-final 1 is Pontus Tiedemann versus Emil Bergqvist. 2 junior WRC champions from the past, Tiedemann and Bergqvist, from years gone by. But here we are. First into the stage is Tiedemann, currently 3rd in the WRC 2 championship overall after winning in Mexico and finishing on the podium in Sweden, a stage that he would have driven only back in February. Conditions were slightly different, but Tiedemann, here we go. Skoda Fabia for him, run by the Ekström team, so a little bit of a win-win for the Ekström team through here, that is for sure. Tiedemann absolutely pushing, hitting the bank on the outside there. As we've said, the times are so short, 141s, 142s, so you've got to give absolutely everything. Tiedemann not hanging about at all. Patrick Barth co-driving for him in the co-driver's seat, calling out those pace notes. Quite a lot of dirt on the windscreen, being scooped up from one of the cuts that he take. Here we go. Big push, heading towards the arena area now. There'll be no gravel to sweep because they've done lots of runs over it. In theory, the gravel now will be wet and slippy and slimy. Big jump. Tiedemann just over the crest here, getting it slowed down. Just popped up onto 2 wheels. That was where PG Anderson rolled, remember, in qualifying. Over the second jump and out on the road, out of the arena. Number 1 on the door, Tiedemann. On his way down, it's flat out from here. Heavy braking at the far end of this straight though. Over the crest he'll come. Flat out, you can see how wide they've been going from the racing lines there. The road is nice and clear. Wipers on full. Lots of spray coming from the back of the car. Solberg's time from qualifying was the quickest one we've had so far. That is a 1:43.1 for Pontus Tiedemann. And Patrick Barr through the stage. There's probably potentially more grip with the studded tyres in the snow and ice than they've got right now, because it looks really, really slippy. There he is, just clipping that bank there. Lucky it didn't suck him in at the front end. It was heading that direction, but it didn't. All the little marker posts out to stop them from cutting. They're big wooden poles. You don't want to be clipping one of those, because that will start to happen. That's this little 2-wheel moment that he had. Let's hear from him.
Pontus, the first semi-final run, a little bit slower than before.
Yeah, it feels like it was more slippy now, so struggle a bit to find a good rhythm. But
is it because of rain, or is it because the ruts are getting deeper?
It's getting more muddy, so more slippy.
Do you think that the times will be a little bit slower from now on?
It's look like this, yeah, but we will see.
Do you think you are the winner in the semi-final?
Emil has been going quick, so I'm sure you cannot do any mistake, but I need to do a very clean and good run the next one also.
So Emil Bergqvist on the start line. Another Skoda Fabia from the same team, from the Ekström team. This car actually is being shared by Emil and Mattias Ekström. A co-driver in his car, Stefan Bergman. The only thing they're changing is the name of the driver, because Bergman's co-driving for both of them, so he's getting plenty of seat time. But here we go. Bergqvist, he's cleared his windscreen pretty quickly. A lot neater through there than what Tiedemann was. Drifting it sideways. You can see the dirt, but here's Bergqvist dipping it. Remember, Bergqvist only driven a few rallies in an R5 car. His prize for winning the Junior WRC in 2018 was a Ford Fiesta R5. Did a couple of rallies in that last year. 10th overall in Portugal he was. In a Skoda, he's had a day of testing in it just before the event, but that was in the dry weather. Now it's anything but dry. Really slippy. Car sliding all over the place. Here we go into the arena, over the jump. Just watch, see if he gets it onto 2 wheels in the ruts at Court. PG Anderson out. Seems to be okay, but those ruts are going to have to be watched out for later on. Over the second jump and heading towards the exit of the arena. Lots of water in the braking area, which is just not what you need. Oh, he's lucky there. He just got spat out of the rut, but didn't delay him too much. A dab of the brakes as he tried and bring the car back round. Here we go, down the straight. 1:43.1 is the time for Tiedemann. Bergqvist in the heavy braking area. We've just gone past that time now. 1.6 down on the split time there. 1.6 down. So he's got to make that up on the second pass. See what he can do there. Here we go off the start line. Just watching him. It's hard to see where to lose 1.6 seconds, but he has done it. Whether he can make it up in the next pass will be interesting to see. It looked a committed run. Not enough, but Tiedemann a lot more experience in this car than Bergqvist.
I had some problems with intercoms. It doesn't matter on this stage, but it was a lot of noises, so I don't want to blame it on that, but it was not so good.
But is the road conditions stable or getting worse?
I don't know, but it's more slippy now, so I just have to do it better next time.
Oliver Solberg is up next for a first run through the stage. Co-driver Pernilla, his mum. Pernilla's won this rally in the classic section 4 times, so got plenty of experience of winning here. Oliver, he's still only at the start of his career, only 4 world rallies under his name. Rally Sweden was one of those earlier on this year. But here we go, in his VW Golf. Polo, sorry, not golf, polo. Oliver just clipping the back. Every bit of mileage is experience for the young Norwegian, only 18 years old. He also had a day's testing. His mum sat in with him on tests before, but not in a full competition. This is the debut together. But she is a formidable co-driver, as well as a driver in the past. Pernilla having done the PWRC for a few years in the World Rally Championship. Oliver Solberg absolutely committed. He's very, very flamboyant. We can't deny that by the young Swede. Runs with everyone says he's Norwegian, but he's actually Swedish. His mum and dad Petter were not married when Oliver came round, so he takes the Swedish nationality and has a Swedish passport. The bumper hanging off the back. It is an all-out attack from Solberg. Dear me. Wide again there. The rear bumper hanging down. The front bumper's a bit skew-whiff as well. Through the final corner, heading towards it. It's a 1:44.7. Quicker through. 1:44.7. Ekstrom's time on there as a 1:46. So Solberg quicker than Ekstrom on that time there. Here's just some action replays. This is him running he just kind of understeered over the crest as if it popped out of the rut just on the crest there. And then the rear bumper just getting hooked up in the ruts and starting to get pulled out. Looks like a right beaten vehicle when you look at the rear bumper and the front bumper, but Solberg on a big push.
Very slippery, and I was very careful with the rocks to not take any risks. And not good, not good. I was a lot of understeer. The car was not working well.
We see some damage on the car, but it's not a big issue.
No, but it's so rough, you know, and it's a bit hard on the tires, so we have to be careful. But apparently, it's not quick enough, so we have to try again.
Better. The family inside the car, you outside the car. I think you are the most nervous people in Torsby just now.
Yeah, for sure. You know, when it coming to this sprint rallies, you know, you have to attack so much on a very short time, and it's coming to closer to the end now, and and now he was driving against Ekström, and Oliver took him with 1.3 seconds on this run.
Yeah, but it was a little bit slower and some damage on the car.
Yeah, but I think it's the roughness of the road. You know, it's a lot of ruts, so I think this comes off very quickly when you're going in the ruts. But we will see now. Still a few runs to go, and we will see. I'm quite excited.
Okay, so here is the Ekström run coming up. Reason why he would have kind of run a little bit later, just because they've got to swap the names on the car, swap the seat position as well. Remember, as I said, Bergqvist and Mattias Ekström sharing this car. Co-driver just sits in there and gets on with it. Stefan getting lots of runs through here, but as Petter was saying there, it's tell you what, Ekström, same as Tiedemann was, really wild over that crest and just whacking the bank, but getting away with it, just missing the line again there. It's so slippy, we're hearing from the drivers. But Ekström, as we said, he's done lots and lots and lots, but not much rallying for a little while. 8 starts in the World Rally Championship, 6 of them in Sweden, 1 in Spain and 1 in Germany. Here we go, heading up the hill. Just a gradual climb all the way, just avoiding the posts. His first Rally Sweden was in the year 2000. 20 years ago. He's been around a long time. He's achieved huge greatness in the sport of motor racing in general. Here we go, into the big open left-hander at the top. Watch the ruts, make sure you don't roll it like Anderson did. He's away and through. Over the second jump as we disappear out. Down there, into the braking area. Obviously still raining, lots of wiper action. And there's that rut. That's a nasty rut. And it's in those ruts that we think the car of Solberg was getting some damages as those ruts were being dug in. The car, maybe potentially the Polo of Solberg, running lower than the Skodas. And that's what's ripping out the rear bumper. But it's cosmetic. You don't need to worry about it. Here comes Ekström down there. At the minute, at 143, 44, 45. Through the finish. 46. So Ekström is through. Tough run for the Swedish driver. You could see just off the start line the rut as the car zigzags its way. And that was that big moment again. Lucky that the front end didn't get sucked in to the bank. If it had been snow, like we normally have here, for sure he'd have been in the snow bank. But not to be this time. He got away with it. I mean, it looks committed. He said he needed to make a second up. He said his quickest run was his qualifying run. So he needs to just find a little bit. But for me, it's a tall order up against young Oliver Solberg. Even though Solberg's at the start of his career, Ekström heading towards the end, I still think that young Solberg probably is going to win this one out.
Yeah, that was very rough, and it's getting rougher and rougher, and I feel I can't really read the road as good as I wish. So the rougher it gets, the more I struggle, but I can see the rally guys, the good guys here, they have a big advantage, and they're also really good in reading the road, but it's still a really nice challenge for me to try, especially when it gets so rough.
Especially when it gets so rough. That'll be now. The second pass of this semi-final is up and running. The wipers are still on. It doesn't seem to be raining as much, but we're back on board the white Skoda Fabia. That's Pontus Tiedemann and Patrick Barth. Remember the two-time WRC2 champion Pontus. This was where he had that moment. He didn't clip the bank this time. It was still very sideways, but didn't clip the bank. That's another tricky corner. They just seem to... As it goes over the crest, it just seems to wash out a little bit. But they're through it and on their way. It's a huge push again. Remember, the fastest to go through into the final, the third and fourth quickest, they will end up in a third and fourth place shootout to see who finishes on the podium. Tiedemann got no desires to be in that fight. He wants to be in the final fight. Remember, he did 3 rallies last year in 2019 in a Ford Fiesta World Rally car with M Sport. He's been a Skoda Fabia driver for years in the WRC2 Championship. He's back into that Skoda Fabia now. He's been driving for Talksport in the World Championship in Sweden and in Mexico. but for this one-off event, he's got a car from Ekstrom's team. This event put on by the Rally Sweden organisers. No motorsport since the middle of March. We're back in rally action, which is exactly what we're wanting. And it's lockdown. No spectators, as you can see around us. It is a clear view for the drivers. Nothing to get in their way, nothing to distract them. It's a spectator-free zone, but that still doesn't mean they don't have to push, because it's Pride. And through, again for the second time, is Pontus Tideman. A lot cleaner off the start line than Mattias Ekstrom was there. Just getting the grip down and away, but into this section so quick through there. Last time he was just had a small two-wheel moment in here. Nice and steady there now. That braking area again, just where you don't want a load of water in the braking area, and they've got it. That's a rutted corner that could catch someone out later on.
You was at 1.6 ahead of Emil Bergqvist in the first run. Is it enough?
Let's hope. He's been driving very well, but it's get quite tricky, the conditions, but for me it was quite a good run, but cannot do so much more in this condition, but we will see what Emil can do.
But it really became slippery now, or is the grip still there?
No, I would say it's coming up mud in some places, so the grip is changing quite a lot, I would say, so for sure not easy.
And here we go, in car, Emil Bergqvist. And as Pontus was saying there, very, very slippy. And the mud's starting to come up. That's in braking areas. That's not what you want. In acceleration areas, it's not ideal, but definitely not in the braking areas. As we've seen, there's been a couple of little moments along the way. Bergqvist going to have to dig deep here. Nice and sideways over that crest. Then this is the next tricky one, which is in here. It seems to just bottom out, does the car, and it just pushes them out wide. Bergqvist just clipping out. Look how slippy it is. The car's all over the place. Bergqvist, we haven't seen this year out in the World Rally Championship. I said his last outing was Portugal last year, where he finished 10th overall and 2nd in the WRC 2 category. 2018 was his big year when he won the Junior WRC. A champion before that, when he was in the European Championship, he won the ERC 3 category in both outright and the junior section. So a lot of credentials behind this young Swede. Just needs a bit of backing and a bit of stability to get himself back up and running again. This could just be the kind of event that he needs just to showcase his talents. Into that corner there, just there. You can see where the ruts just start to dig in, but Bergqvist on his way down the long straight. He's going to appear over the crest. You can see how wide the lines are from some of the mainly Solberg lines they are. Here we go, down the straight. What's he going to do? Tideman's done a 27.2. Remember, it's the fastest 2 times that go through. Oh, he ditch hooked quite a lot and flicked himself out. And just a little bit slower than Pontus Tideman through that stage there. So Pontus through 2.1 seconds quicker over the aggregate, the 2 times added together. Bergqvist is out, and into the final is Pontus Tideman. But here's just a quick action replay from Emil Bergqvist. That water zone there, just really tricky. This corner here, Bergqvist seems to get that better than the others, to be totally honest with you. It's on this corner though. Bergqvist had just a little moment there, just hooked the ditch a little bit too much.
It was a long time since I was in the car. I'm very happy to be in the fight still. So yeah, try to get back to the rally car, do a lot of driving, and then yeah, we see what will happen. I'm happy with my run. Yeah.
Yeah, but you still have the possibilities for a podium.
Yeah, for sure. If we have that, we go for it. So that's good.
2 more runs in the B final.
Yeah, then we go for the podium.
Oliver Solberg and Mont Pernilla in the car for their second run through the semi-final. Let's just see what they can make of this. As we're saying, we're talking about stage times. There's no 144s, 145. You've got to be on it from the absolute start. You cannot give an inch. Everyone absolutely pushing like mad. Solberg no different. Here he is over that crest. It's a lot neater than he was first time through. That bumper damage, that was from the first one, remember, from the ruts just in there. just running a little bit wide, but he's still on it. The car just seems to be a lot more stable, a lot more grounded, as the Skoda Bergqvist did just skit around across the top. The Polo seems to just have a little bit more traction at the minute. This is to make this final. It's between Solberg and Ekstrom to who gets into the final and joins Tiedemann. The front bumper now just taking a little bit of a hammering in the ruts. Solberg doesn't care. It is just a flat out push over the jump into the long left-hander to bring themselves back and on the exit of the arena here. Car just up on its suspension struts there. Over the second jump. Car looks like it's done about 48 Ks, not 4. Here we go, big push. Down the straight. Pernilla calling those pace notes. As I said before, previous winner of the Rally Sweden Classic Rally with Petter, alongside Petter, they've won it 4 times. Wipers on full blast, lots of spray coming. Nice and balanced through there. The Polo does seem to be well balanced, and it's a 3:29.0 for the Solbergs. That is the aggregate time over the 2 stages, remember. Adding the times up. Here comes, they're just clipping one of those marker posts there, was Oliver. A little bit of race tape strewn across the front end of the car, keeping everything in check. No point in throwing new bumpers on it. Not when Oliver's going to use the scenery to his advantage in some places. But just here, the comparison between Oliver in there and then Bergqvist. Bergqvist hooked that ditch a little bit too much and it flicked him out. And Oliver much neater in that corner.
Also took it easy with the punctures because still 2 runs left, so you have to be careful, you know. So I took it a little bit easy, but it was okay.
Okay, here goes Mattias Ekstrom. He's got a job to do. Get himself into the final. He admits that it's going to be a tall order to get himself in there. But let's see, he's probably got the toughest draw with Oliver Solberg. But as we said before, one end of the spectrum to the other. The youngster versus the most experienced person here this weekend for sure. Ekstrom a lot neater through there. But it's in these sections where the time just disappears. A 1/10 of a second here, a 1/10 of a second there. Ever-changing conditions, remember. Since he was last through, 4 more cars have been through and made different lines or rutted the road a little bit more. A bit more rain on the surface just makes it all that more demanding. I mean, Mattias hasn't not been in a rally car recently. He's done a couple of rounds this year of the Swedish Championship already, but they weren't in these kind of conditions, for sure. Over the jump into the arena. Big push, flat on the throttle, over the second jump, on his way out and down towards this right-hander. Let's see whether he gets through this right-hander. Not too bad, just a little bit of understeer there. Rock flicking out now on the straight. And then there's this very, very quick right-hander that we can just see the exit of. There he is, coming down the straight. There's the time of Solberg, a 3:29.0. We're on 26, 27, 28, 29. We're not through. We're not through. Mattias Ekstrom has not made it into the final. 4.5 seconds down on Oliver Solberg. It's an EKS shootout for the 3rd place, though, between Bergqvist and Ekstrom. It's in places like this where the young Solberg probably is gaining on Ekstrom. You could see the commitment from Solberg in there, where Mattias Ekstrom, just seat time, mileage, he just lacks it a little bit, and that's where that last 1/10, that last 1 or 2% needs to come. But a driver with his credentials, you can't criticise him at all. He's out having a little bit of fun and up against probably the toughest bit of competition. So there you go. Solberg, 4.5 seconds quicker than Ekstrom over the 2 runs.
Mattias, I know how much you want to win, but today it will not be a win.
No, I know. For me, it's too difficult when the road gets so rutted. I feel I'm lacking a lot of experience, and just practice more and come back and try again another time.
We wouldn't be against seeing Mattias Ekström come back. So here we are. The A final is Pontus Tideman and Oliver Solberg, as we said, and the B final is Mattias Ekström and Emil Bergqvist. And Emil Bergqvist did say that he would like a podium, and that is what he is going to go and try and get. And you know what? Even though he's still quite young, he probably has a lot more experience than his boss for this weekend, Mattias Ekström. So let's just see what is going to go on in the B final, run 1. Remember, they'll do 2 runs over this stage, so a little bit more mileage for them as well. But a great incentive, as we've said, of or initiative, this situation that the Rally Sweden organisers have come up for. Sun's out now. Look at that. Wipers off. Sun's out. 2, 1, go, and we're away again as we deep and dive and dip into the stage. Already mud flicking up onto the windscreen. That is really bad. When you're trying to drive, the last thing you want to do is have loads of mud splattering on the windscreen. You've got to get it washed off quickly, because if it starts to dry, it is really difficult. But Bergqvist on a little bit of a push here. Remember, 2 runs through this stage. Same car, just a little bit there. That's where the inside, they seem to be staying away from that a lot. They just seem to keep themselves out of that. And that's then what pushes them wide on that corner. Again, you can just see how slippy and muddy it is now. The sun coming out. I don't know how warm that sun is, to whether it'll dry the road anything or not. Bergqvist on his way up. Stefan Bergman co-driving. He's had a great day. He's going to be on the podium regardless, because remember, he's co-driving for both Emil and Mattias. Calling out those pace. I wonder if he's got different pace notebooks for them. Whether they've got the same pace notes. I suspect they recce separately and they have completely different pace notes. Bergqvist down to the heavy braking corner. In through this dip. Out over the ruts. It bounces out and over. And he's back on the power. We're down the straight. Here comes the right-hander. Through the right-hander. On the way. Just keep it going. Keep it going. It's finding your braking point now down here. Find the markers where you've got to jump on the brakes. That is where he's on the brakes through this corner. Remember, a couple of runs ago, he was a lot neater that time on the inside, and he set the benchmark of 1:43.9 in this B final. So there he is off the start line. You can see the ruts there. Now, this car does look considerably higher than the VW Polo. I don't say it is much higher. It could just be bodywork and things like that, but the car does just look a little bit higher. Over the jump. Nice air. And then that long left-hand corner at the end of the arena, which just brings the ruts in there. Remember, a few hours ago, PG Anderson getting caught out on the qualification run. Corner there, that you could knock a tyre off the rim in that corner, the way that it just flicks across the top of the ruts, but everyone seems to be okay.
It was a good run. I think I only do 1 now, so I did my best, and I have done my best all day, so I'm happy with that, yes.
If it is like you say, you are number 3 on the podium now?
Yeah, if I'm on the podium, it's very good actually. We have shown through the day that we are have had some fastest time, so I'm very happy with that. Very thankful to be here.
What can you have done better?
Nothing actually. I have some slides, but everyone has some problems, I think, with some issues. So no, I'm very happy. Yes.
So here we go. Pontus Tideman, Oliver Solberg into the A final. Run 1. Let's see what's going on board with Oliver here. And away. Off we go. Big push. You could just see Solberg working at the wheel, how tough it is in those ruts, particularly in the slower corners. Here we go, over this crest. He's getting neater and neater. Every passing through. The rear bumper still hanging off. Nice and sideways through there. That is actually probably the best line he's had through there all day. Of anybody, to be fair, not just Oliver. Dad watching on, we've heard from him. He's probably the most nervous now. Maybe not. Maybe Pranilla's a bit nervous. Guiding your son around. The road actually does look just a little bit drier now. Solberg giving it absolutely everything. Big push, open and over and into the arena, heading towards the jump. The young Swede only passed his driving test last year and then started Wales Rally GB after that. Through that corner. He's on his way. It just seems to grip and get on with the program so much quicker, just so much more committed in the tighter corners. That is where he's got to make the time. You see, now virtually there is spray, but nowhere near as much as what there was. The road is drying out quite a lot. Nice slide through there. It just hugs the ditch so well, does the Polo. And a 1:42.1. Solberg's clear another stage. Yeah, over this here. It's just, I mean, remember his early runs, he was so wild over that crest. And then this one into there, he's just so much neater. So the road getting faster. There is ruts. If you can utilize and use those ruts though, that is so good. It's when you pop out of them that it becomes a problem. Solberg at the minute, not popping out of any of them. There's another one there that he just skips across the top of it and gets himself away.
The first run in the final, Oliver, and you was able to do a 42.1 time. Incredible.
Yeah, not bad. I was happy with that time. And okay, I don't understand how the other guys can't get punctures, because I have punctures. I don't know why, but because I don't hit anything. But it was a good time. So I lost a little bit in the last two corners because I had a puncture and it was going a little bit like this, but I'm happy.
Was it you to speed up, or was it a little bit better circumstances now?
No, I fine-tuned my driving a little bit, and I had to do some setup changes to get the rear grip I wanted, because earlier today it was sliding everywhere. But it was okay now.
And you're making a lot of pressure on Pontus.
I hope.
A lot of pressure for Pontus. Yep, Oliver Solberg's hoping. Let's see what Tiedemann can do. Interestingly, we talked about it before, didn't we? Those ruts potentially pushing tyres off the rim. That is what is happening to Oliver Solberg. The others don't seem to be getting them. Maybe because the others aren't pushing quite as hard in the ruts as the young Swedish driver Oliver Solberg. But here goes Pontus Tiedemann, Patrick Barth. Let's see what they can do. It's a neat run over the crest there. The drivers, now the road is drying out, are a lot neater. Just a nice little clip of the post on the inside of that corner. Tiedemann pushing as hard as he possibly can. Going up the hill, heading towards the arena part of it. The car's now virtually hardly any dirt on them. It is a lot drier than what it was. That'll just give him again a little bit more confidence. It did get really slippy earlier on in the day with all that rain, but now it seems to be just coming back to the driver's favour. More and more experience. Every pass you do, you get more experience on it. This is a tricky corner. That water, then into the ruts here. As we drift round, it just pops up one wheel on the front. Now it's flat out down to the bottom. Here's the right-hander through this corner. It's even quicker now. Just top gear. Keep it going. Keep it going. Find your braking point. 1:42.1 is the time from Solberg. Then heavy on the brakes here. Down a couple of gears through the corner. Latval has been off there in the past, as well as Fabio Andolfi this year. And he's 0.8 down. It's not a lot. It's not a lot. But it is advantage Solberg after the first run. 0.8 of a second. Pontus be sitting there thinking, how can I find that back? Where can I find it? This is the section potentially where Solberg is making it up at 0.8 is nothing to kind of like think where you lost it in 1.5 1 minute 40 or so seconds. Tiedemann will be going back, having a quick look through the onboards and just trying to work out where he can take a little bit of time back.
Pontus, first round of the finals, you are 0.8 behind Oliver with the puncture.
Yeah, but I had a good run and the condition is really changing. So, but I try also to avoid big rocks because it's one more to go. So I will try to push in the last one. It's the only one I can do.
Do you have some time to pick up on your pocket?
Start to cut more, yes.
Start to cut more. Okay, he was on the limit because he did clip that post there, but Oliver Solberg goes into this final run with a 0.8 of a second advantage over his cousin Pontus Tiedemann. So it's a real family affair in more ways than one. So that is with them to go. Okay, back in the car now. This is the third place shootout, because that is a black and yellow Skoda Fabia. Here we go. We're on our way. This should be Mattias Ekström as we fire up the hill. Ekström's teammate wanting to get onto the podium. That's Bergqvist. He set his benchmark time. Now it is the turn of Mattias Ekström through there. Car just skipping around. Remember, they're sharing the car with Bergqvist and Ekström, so there'd be a seat adjustment to be made, maybe some settings to be changed as well. Quite fascinating whether they're kind of comparing in a real big way of what setups and settings that they should be using or can be using. But Ekström learning everything he possibly can in a rare rallying outing. But maybe more to come this year, because not a lot else on his radar at the minute. But knowing Ekström, there'll be plenty in his mind of what he wants to get up to and what he wants to do. Just clipping the rut there. And remember, this is what Oliver Solberg was saying. Tyres just getting pushed off their rims when they slide across the ruts, particularly in corners like this here, as it just whacks the rut there, running really, really wide. It's a 1:43.9, remember, for Bergqvist. Teammate coming down the road. I don't think Ekström's in it. It's been a little bit of a messy run. Just in that one corner alone, he probably dropped a second or so. But here he comes, down the straight. One more braking area to do. There you see the front of the car dip down into the brakes. And then through that corner. Here we go. We're over already by 2.6 seconds by the end of it. Ekström has a lot of work to do. Bergqvist is 1:43.9 and the quickest of the pair of them. So let's just look back through. It was a neat and tidy run. There was only one corner where he looked particularly messy, and that was the last one before the long straight. But just experience, seat time, changeable conditions, just slightly going against the inexperience that Mattias Ekström has there. It just kind of, you saw the brake lights come on as it just dipped out of the line and just headed towards the edge of the road.
Mattias, 2.6 seconds behind Emil. That means that you end up fourth in the rally.
Yeah, I think it's for sure. I was expecting a bit more, but I didn't expect it to be this difficult with the ruts. And in the end, I can say the car is in one piece. I learned a lot, but to be really fast here, I need to practice a lot to drive in the ruts to make them my friends instead of the enemy.
What about the whole event?
I think the whole event was a good initiative from the Rally Sweden organization, SVT, and in the end everybody preferred to drive versus to stay home. So for me it was also a good event, but in the end I can only say I would have wished to be more competitive, but for this I need to practice more.
When will we see Mattias behind the wheel in a race car next time?
I don't know, nothing planned, maybe sooner, maybe later, but for sure I will be doing some more rallies in my life, but in the end I need to practice a bit more as well.
Or maybe take the tarmac back.
Or go racing or rallycross, whatever.
So there is the result there, a 1:43.9 Bergqvist, as we said, 2.6 seconds quicker than Mattias Ekstrom. But Mattias saying there that, yeah, maybe some more rallies, just get some more practice. Bergqvist wanting to be out and about. Now back to the A final here, and the second run, Pontus Tideman, remember, 0.8 of a second it was coming into this that he was behind, and it started to rain again. That is, well, I'm not sure whether that's what he wants or not. It wouldn't be what I would be wanting, that's for sure. But here we go, we're on the way. A lot of rain coming down. Now that potentially, if this rain was to continue, it could favour Tideman, because the wetter it gets, and Solberg is next down the road. Here we go. You can see how, oh, really, really slippy. Tideman just running wide, just clipping the bank on the outside there. Wipers on full speed. Remember, his first run, it was in the sunshine, and no wipers needed. Now the rain, you can see the big dark cloud to the left top of the screen it is. But let's see what Tideman and Patrick Barth can do. 0.8 of a second he's got to make up. The time now that you can see counting is an aggregate. It's an added up time. He's not lost a load of time. That started, the clock started on his first stage time. So here we go, into the arena, over the jump. Tideman, this is it. It's now or never. He's got to give it everything he possibly can. Big push by the Swede. He's been in fights before. This one is a real kind of like big pride of First Motorsport, as we've talked about, since the coronavirus came in and lockdown happened in the middle of March. Tideman wants to have to his name. Look at the spray coming down here. Massive push. Tideman on his way down. One more braking area to go. There it is on the brakes. See if he can make it up. His time at the end of it. Here we go. Here is the archway. And he set the time. A 3:26.1. A 3:26.1. That is his two times added together. And now Oliver Solberg knows what he has to do to win the Rally Sweden Lockdown sprint that we have got on. But Tideman, I tell you what, this rain really changing the conditions. They've had everything thrown at them today, have the drivers. And maybe the experience of Tideman in that car might just help him here, because he's driven this car in many different conditions. A Skoda Fabia, he's done a fair few years in the World Championship driving them, so you'll just be able to go back on that knowledge that he has and that experience. But he's up against a feisty youngster in Oliver Solberg.
The last run in the competition is done. Are you satisfied?
Yeah, that feels like a good run, so I did my best. So we will see what Oliver doing. It's quite many bad rocks, so I try to avoid the biggest one. So, but the run was good, and cannot do anything more. For sure, the final run was maybe a bit too careful, but anyway, no punctures, so yeah, we will see.
It was a little bit slower now, and the rain became heavier again. Is it the rain is the issue?
Yeah, it started to rain on the stage. I had full wipers on, so I don't know how they change the conditions. It's quite muddy anyway, so.
In worst case, you are runner-up and second in this event?
Yeah, I'm very sure it's been good. I mean, it's Oliver is driving quick, and many other good drivers, so it's very fun to be here.
And back in a rally car is nice.
Yeah, it's nice. Long time ago, so I really need it, and sure, I really hope it will start in the real rally soon. But just need to respect what's going on and see what's happened.
So here we go. Pontus Tideman saying there's lots of rocks around. That hasn't seemed to have bothered Oliver Solberg recently. He's just been giving it absolutely everything. He was up after the first run. Oliver, as we've talked about, the lack of experience. He's only 18 years old, only done 4 World Rallies. Yes, he's done it. He's done some other rounds. He's done some European rallies. He's done Latvia. He's done Estonian rallies. So he does have experience. But just in this shootout, this is great for him. Just clipping the inside of that corner. The post flying out to the right-hand side. Solberg absolutely giving it everything he possibly can. Remember, it's the 2 times added together that gives us our overall time. Solberg knows what Tideman has done. Here we go. Solberg's time's up there, 2:33, 2:34. The rain still coming down. It's a lot wetter than what it was. It's been a big downpour that they've had. Heavy on the brakes through this long left-hander for the last time. Pernilla calling those pace notes. I suspect by now, though, he knows where he's going by heart. Down the straight. Up through the gears. One more gear, there we go. Through this corner. Big cut on the inside, running right out to the outside. Heavy on the brakes, here we go. Tiedemann's time's up, a 3:26.1. What can he do? We've got 24, 25, 20, we've done it, he's done it. Oliver Solberg has completed it and won it by 1.1 seconds over the average of 2 stages. What a run by the young Swede. He was off the start line like a rocket and then just continued to blast his way through the stage. The ruts there, he used them to his advantage and they stuck. The car just stayed in him and it was a full committed run. Bits of car hanging off it. He doesn't care. Mum doesn't care. The Solbergs have won it. That final corner there, look at the commitment. So there it is on the board. Oliver Solberg, 1.1 seconds quicker than Pontus Tideman. Rally Sweden Lockdown, the A final results. It's the 18-year-old who's won it.
Yeah, it's the first win in a long time, and even if it's a sprint, it's still the best guys are here, so you know it's still a very nice feeling.
You've beaten 3 former world champions.
Yeah, I'm happy. Very, very nice.
You're a really family team. Peter and Pernilla came. How would it be to have the mother in the rear seat?
I didn't listen to my mother at all. But I was so...
You told me earlier. Have you tell her?
I haven't told her yet. No, I did after the race.
I just sat there and enjoyed everything. I was reading and you didn't even pay attention, and I could have just enjoyed it.
When you became angry all over, he said not to listen to you.
No, I thought he listened, but no, I had great fun. It was fantastic. A really, really great day out. And again, big thanks to everyone for pulling this off. All the marshals who've been here and SVT and the organizers from Swedish Rally, the community here in Torsby. Really nice, really good fun.
And Peter, no longer you need to be the most nervous man in Torsby.
I must say this was a tough one, but it's so difficult conditions out there, and you know, Pontus had puncture before, Oliver had puncture, so it's easy to do a mistake, but he kept his head cold and having driven since Mexico, so that was very nice, and not even listen to the co-driver, so it's pretty okay.
So that's it, our very first Rally Sweden Lockdown. It's been eventful. PG Anderson rolling early on, Oliver Solberg winning at the end with Mum alongside him. It's been a great day's action. Congratulations to the organisers and everyone who put it on. We hope to see you back on the stages soon.